So today is going to talk about beliefs versus faith, or faith versus belief. It's something that has been going on in my head for ages. What is faith? What is belief? Are they the same? Are they different? What is the best? If it's something that we can call it best between the two. So sorry, I need to get my notes because I don't want to forget something that and it's quite interesting because sometimes you have to be careful what you wish for. I'm thinking about this topic and about what I wanted to share together today. The last couple of days, everything went wrong. So even up to this morning, so there was misunderstanding, communication. There was not here, but with about the lunch, about something trivial. And we had that was one thing. Then we had I was trying to print the notes for the service today, and the printer was working fine in the morning, and yesterday evening didn't work anymore. We just gone. Could not understand what was happening. I tried it several times. The cooking didn't come out as was supposed to be because of the different misunderstanding between us. Then we had what else did we have? This morning I was trying just before leaving the house. I bent and my pants cracked. So I thought, okay, if I make it alive to the service today, it's already great. But I think it has to do something with what I was today about this, because it's a very, very important topic, I suppose. And I think it's important to reflect and to think which way we want to go about in our life of belief or life of faith, or both, or mix them up. So I want to do a bit of background. The background is that today we have a lot of there's a big supermarket where you can go and buy the belief that you want. There's plenty of them. You can pick up, you can choose the best one, you can choose the someone connected to the old, something connected to the new age, something connected to the, I don't know, strange age, because we have all kinds of strange things around again today. You can find something in somebody that never talked about before, and you can make up your own belief. You can take something from here and there and do all different, put the puzzle together and make your own. So why did we come to this point, actually? And I think it's very it can create a distorted way of life in a way. And I'll explain in a moment. So if you look a bit at the history, the initial God, as a monotheistic God, as we know it was, came off from the ancient Israel, right? We all know that. So the I am who I am, the God, the only one God. And then from Abraham, all the faiths came out of the monotheistic big religion that we know today. And at the time in the ancient Israel, they had something which is called, I think, if I pronounce it correctly, it's called Emunah, which is the covenant. The covenant is something different than belief. It's something much deeper. So this has been for 2,000 years until Jesus came, the covenant with the the covenant between God and the Jewish people. I would argue it was not just with the Jewish people, but that was the beginning, because obviously it had to be, it had to include the whole world actually, or everybody, not just specific for somebody. And this is another big problem with all the beliefs that we see today, because, okay, this is my belief, this is my truth, and you must join my church, otherwise you're going to be damned. That's a very common thing. We can laugh about it, but actually that's reality. Even all these ecumenical meetings that are there, yeah, it's fine, they're nice, of course. I don't agree, I don't disagree. They shouldn't communicate with each other. Actually, they should communicate more. But then at the essence, if you really drill down to all this ecumenical thing, it's like, I am who I am. I believe what I believe. You believe what you believe. We agreed not to kill each other, but that's it. Like, and we part ways. So I don't think that's a very good solution either. And I'll explain in a moment about. So coming back to the Jewish people, so they had this emunah, this covenant, which was actually their own life, their own relationship with God, which was much more than just beliefs. Simply, I believe in something. Belief is something that you can. It's an assent to a set of propositions. That's what it is. So there is a set of proposition. I agree with that, and that's my belief. And so we box, in a way, we box God into that. That is where God sits. And it's a very dangerous thing to do, because does God actually fit there or not? Can we actually fit God into something that we can create or something that we can think about? God is beyond space, time, it's beyond anything. What is that we know in the physical reality, but it's not beyond the relationship that we can build with Him, the relationship of love. So, and that's where then faith comes into play. So coming back, then we had Jesus, of course, that started. Well, Jesus didn't start any religion actually. He said, "I came to fulfill the law and the prophet." And the law and the prophet was the covenant of, I am the Father, I am in the Father in me. That was the covenant. That was what Jesus came to fulfill. It did not come to create Christianity. The people later, what they understood about Jesus created Christianity. Now you may disagree with what I'm saying, that's okay, but I have quite a clear feeling about the genuinity of the relationship with God and man, God and people, which I think is most essential, is the essence why we are here. This is the essence why we try to pursue what we are pursuing. So I think, so then Jesus came and that happened, created Christianity. And Christianity diluted that covenant, the idea of emunah, that idea of really life together with God, even further, because the more Christianity grew, then they had to have, and the more when Christianity became the state religion in the Roman Empire, then they were faced with another problem, which was, okay, we have a state, we have all these Christians around, we need to keep them under control. And everybody has to agree with something, otherwise, people just start going all over the places. And so what did they come up with? Okay, this is Jesus. Jesus existed from eternity past. Jesus is the Trinity, God, Father, Son, the Father, Son, and the Spirit. They are three in one, one in three, three in whatever. And I'm not trying to make fun of it, but it's very complicated and very messy. And that's created another problem, because say, okay, you believe in Jesus and you're saved. Okay, saved from what, first of all? Second is, okay, that around the year 400, then they started to create the dogma of the creed and what has been the tenet or the set of belief for the whole Christianity for the past 2,000 years. So after that, it became even worse because after that, we got the Protestant Reformation. And I believe there's been a big failure in the Protestant Reformation because the Protestant Reformation, instead of diluting more the relationship with God, they solidified faith, that I'm saved by faith alone. That was one of the Luther strongest and strongest argument among his on his Reformation idea. So, in other words, you move away from the actual relationship, even though they talk about the relationship, but the reality is, I believe and I'm fine. I believe I'm saved. As long as I believe in Jesus, that's okay, no problem. We can say the same thing. As long as I believe in true parents, I'm saved. As long as I believe in the God Son, I'm saved. Like it doesn't matter, you know what I mean? The problem is with that is that there is no transformation, which is the real essence of what religion should be. Well, we exchange all the time religion as the way. No, religion is the door. You just open the door. You open the door, but then you need to get into where you need to go, and that's where the faith comes from. That's where you need faith. The faith is not just to having the belief that, oh, okay, this is great, fantastic, okay, thank you very much, goodbye. I'm not gonna go there. Faith is like, you know, that the bridge is safe, but you actually start to cross the bridge. You actually walk the bridge. You don't just sit down and look at it, because then what's the point? And so this has been the conflict that I think exists even today. It's become very much more pronounced because so many different ideas, and there are fantastic ideas out there. You can just pick up whatever you like, and they're fantastic. If you want to look into the agnostic, they have amazing views of the world, the universe, and eons, and all kind of stuff. Like it's very fascinating, the whole thing. But that really change your life. That will really make you the person that connects you to God. That's the difference. And that's what I think all these beliefs are lacking, are missing the main point. You might think that, has anyone had days or weeks when they didn't feel God? I'm the only one?
Never.
Never. Fantastic. Okay. Yeah, we have the saints of the saints. Yeah, it is painful, right? It's very painful when we go through such a situation. I think we go through a lot of this situation like that, maybe daily, maybe up and down, so whatever. Sometimes you feel God closer, sometimes you don't. But that's where the faith comes in. That is the kernel of the solution for that problem. Because sorry, I'm getting a little bit sidetracked here with the notes. So faith is so when we think about faith, we need to think about relationship, and that's the most important thing. So if you look at all the major or the religious figures that created religions or created movement or whatever, they started up. Sorry, that's okay. They started up with they started up with the relationship. Yes. Jesus, we don't know what Jesus unfortunately did because the 30 years of his life are almost hidden. And even the one that we know from 0 to 12, what we know from the Bible is maybe true or something. We can't really say, but we definitely know that Jesus had a definite relationship with the God, with the Father, and that's why he was saying the thing he was saying. And if you think about this commandment was love God and love your neighbor as yourself. That was the greatest of all the commandments that Jesus taught, right? Let we look at Father's life. Father started with a relationship. He had an encounter with Jesus. It was a relationship. So what I'm getting at is that the relationship is the most important things, and we need to build a relationship. God is not a God of dogmas, not a God of beliefs, a God that we can box into our own limited thinking or philosophy. God is much beyond that. God is the God of relationship. And that's what all these religious figures have been showing us all the time. So, and living a life of faith means to live a life of relationship, to walk that life that can build relationship with others and that can lead us to be there even when things do not go the way we want to be. Look at the Israelite. They went through a lot of difficult time. Yeah, they went up and down. That beliefs, that sometimes they had disbelief, whatever. But having a life of faith doesn't mean to be always on top. It doesn't mean to be always unfallible, how to say it?
Infallible.
Yeah. It means that we don't stay down when we fall. Life of faith means that we can get up again and we can continue despite the challenges, despite the difficulties, despite what comes into us. I think Koala can relate a little bit with that throughout his life, what he went through, and many others, of course. And the father's life, father's the only thing, think about it, the only thing the father did had he had an encounter with Jesus. He explained about his encounter with Jesus, his feeling about God. He said, okay, when I pray to God, the most important thing I understood about God is that the father-son relationship, and which means also the parents-children relationship, not just the father, but obviously the parents and children, it's the most important things in the world. And so, is that belief or is that faith? So faith it's something much deeper, something that we can live daily in our life. And when father's life has been always to give the best he could in whatever situation it was. That's the best example I can give about life of faith. I wish I could give more. I wish I knew more about Jesus, about the other people, because I'm pretty sure that Jesus did the same thing. We know only about Jesus that he gave, he healed a few people, he took care of a few people, but I'm sure that Jesus did a lot of other things that we don't know about. It's just they don't have a recording, they don't have anything to write on. But I'm pretty sure that was Jesus' life as well. And so has been the life of Saint Francis. He gave up everything to care for the poor. Mother Teresa. Do you know about Mother Teresa letters? Have you ever heard about that? So you'd be surprised, Mother Teresa, that very famous and very amazing person, and she's an amazing person, of course. Mother Teresa, for 50 years, she was in deep struggle with her faith. She was. If you go there online, you can find out, you can read it. She was like for 50 years, not 1 year, not 1 month. 50 years, she was struggling with her faith. And she was writing the letter to her superior all the time about this problem, about this struggle. But she never gave up. She continued. That is the faith. It is the faith that you made a promise to God and you never forfeit that promise. The relationship is there. That is the most important thing. There was a Reverend Sudo a long time ago gave a testimony about Father. Father was, Father always had this kind of fishing and not going everywhere, whatever. There was father had promised to God to go fishing at 5 o'clock in the morning in a certain area. And that, and father was talking maybe until 1 o'clock in the morning, go to bed, sleep 1 hour, then get up, go on the boat and go out. And that morning was very difficult for father, obviously. Father is human being, it's a human body. And at the time, it actually fell down and he hurt his head, that his blood was coming out. And so everybody, of course, was saying, yeah, father, no, don't go, stay, take care, don't go today, it's fine. And father was so angry. He said, I made a promise to God to be there at 5 o'clock, and I need to be there at 5 o'clock. That is not belief, that is the faith, that is the reality of father's heart and mind. And that is the reality of a true life of faith. So father wasn't concerned about I believe in God or not. No, for him, the important thing was there because he had an appointment with God. So, and that is the difference. So anything we look at father's life, to parents' life, not just father, I'm talking about father, to parents' life, of course, mother was always together with father. It's always been like that. Father in prison, father when he went to Gorbachev, when he went to meet Kim Il Sung, everywhere was the same thing. So for father, the most important thing was how do I relate to God? What does God, what can I give to God? What can I offer to God in my daily life? And that was his whole life. If you look at it, if you read the speech, every father's speech, and you keep in mind about relationship, that is the fundamental base of father's any speech that you can see. That is the very fundamental thing that father talks about in any speech you can read. If you read it with this lenses of relationship, it makes complete sense of what father is saying. Father talks about sometimes on the left and right, front and back, up and down, whatever. What he's talking about, no, that is about the relationship. Anything the fathers talk about, every speech, if you read it with these lenses, you can see that father is always pointing to the real faith, which is the substantiation of that relationship. So life of faith means really to substantiate that relationship with God. And we can do that in our daily life. Father was doing that on a world level because father had to do a lot of different things for the providence and everything. We know that, it's fine. But we can do the same on our own level. Second gen, first gen, wherever we are, we can manifest that relationship when we are with other people. And we should be seeking those relationships because those are the most important things that we can remember. What do we remember Mother Teresa for? Because she believed in a Trinity? No. Because she believed in the Pope as being the Peter? No. We remember her for the things that she did for others. What do we remember Jesus for? We remember Jesus because he sacrificed himself. We remember him because of a Trinity, because of some, no, nothing at all. All the people that we remember for, we remember for what they lived, for what they manifested in their life, and the goodness that they gave to other people. So I think we don't need to even to believe in divine principle. God created divine principle. They're already there. We don't need to. It's not something that we need to. It's not something Father invented. Father just discovered, just laid them out. What Father brought was the relationship between God and man. It gave a deeper meaning than what we already knew from Jesus. And that's what we can live for. That's what the essence, I think, of our life of faith is. So we can bring that in our daily life. And the relationship, we need to take care of this relationship because sometimes often than not, but it's okay, we are human beings. More often than not, the relationship sometimes just it's a short circuit, like a between husband and wife, parents and children, or between people, whatever. And that's normal in our daily life. But at the end of the day, what is important is that we seek what is beyond that, and that we make that relationship, fundamental relationship of love, as the base of everything we do. And so I think so when we talk about the life of faith, we didn't go through the slides, where they want to finish with some of the some phrases from Father. So if I have them here, because I can't read them there. Sorry. Goes with some of these. Okay, anyway, so these are from Father words. Heaven is long enough for believers, but for those who practice and substantiate their faith in their daily life. Today we have to go beyond just the word faith and be able to substantiate our faith in our daily life. This is, we must become members who live for our life for heaven. Now, as I was looking at this word from Father, be able to substantiate our faith in our daily life, what actually means. And the Korean version actually has a much deeper meaning that unfortunately we have in English. So that's why Father told us all the time, study Korean language, because you can understand that. So this sentence, I put it down there, I think, it's Chinenun Sangwal Hwa Hada means to demonstrate or to prove. It does not mean to demonstrate to prove the faith. It means to make faith become the living substance of our daily existence. So to totally integrate our relationship, your relationship with God is no longer a separate spiritual compartment, but the very texture of how you wake up, work, relate, suffer, and breathe. So that is what Father's been teaching about faith. And the other one, there's another one there. Faith plays the role of a guide. Therefore, it only takes you to the gate and not to the city. Life of faith stands for conviction that is carried out in our daily life. So that's another quote that Father mentioned. Did I miss one? Yeah. Absolute faith is not the place of self-affirmation, but the place of self-negation. So Father's been talking a lot about the high need, right? Or we must deny completely ourselves. But the paradox of Jesus, whoever want to gain his life will lose it, or whoever want to lose his life will gain it. It's a manifestation of what life of faith actually should be. So it doesn't mean we have to kill ourselves, obviously not. It doesn't mean that we have to give up everything and just live on the street. No, of course not. It means that that relationship that we can build with God, we bring it into the reality of our daily life. And it does sound to be something simple, that is something we repeat all the time, every day, and some people, okay, we know already about this, whatever. But think about it. Wherever you are, like what kind of relationship you can bring there? What is the connection to your connection, personal connection to God that you can bring in that relationship? That is the key. Why a lot of people at the beginning of the church just went to listen to Father? Father wasn't talking about anything else, but he was talking about God, God's heart, and his relationship with God. That's why people were following Father. They didn't follow Father because he was whatever, I don't know. Father even shut down the people that were receiving revelation. Probably you remember the stories. There were spiritualists there, they were receiving all kind of ideas and whatever, and judging people, whatever. Father stopped all of that because it's not important. That's not what it's about. What it's about is what can you bring of your relationship to God to other people. That's what's made the change. What was transform me and transform the people around me. That is the most essential things that we can do. So we have a lot of problems now in the church, a lot of divisions and H1, H2, H3, whatever, I don't know. All kinds of things. And my feeling is that after Mother and Brother Spirit World, it will be more and more fragmented because everyone will claim authority. Everyone will claim I am the true follower of Father. Okay, fantastic. But I'm not here to follow someone. I'm here to follow and to connect to God. I'm here to connect, to make the living God the reality in my life. And that's what we can all have. That's what we all achieve, what we have to achieve for. That's what Father's been teaching us all the time. That's why Father did not care about having a church. He stopped the church, the family federation, because the best place where we can find God is and build that relationship with God is within the family. So that's where we are, where we should be focusing on. That's where we should be. And with the family, obviously, comes the community, which is the nice thing, which is obviously we share that love that we can create between the family and bring it here in the community. So that's our testimony. So the switch between, or the shift between the true life of faith or the covenant at the beginning, it turned into just a supermarket of belief that I can pick up and choose from. That has diluted that relationship and has created a very confused society. Because everybody has different ideas. We can all, well, that's fine, it's no problem. But the fundamental essence is that unless we can bring that love of God between us, in our family and in the community, then we're just a bunch of believers, that can keep fighting and about all kinds of things or whatever, but then nothing else moves. It's not going to change myself. It's not going to change society. It's not going to change anything. So I think for young people, for older people, I think really, at least for me, has been, okay, I have to really think more deeply about what is my relationship to God, what is my give and take to God, so that I can bring that more around where I am. And it doesn't matter, I'm working or sleeping or whatever. Like, so young people, that you have your talents, whatever your talent is, bring it in your area where your talent is, where you're working. That's absolutely fine. So you can think about, okay, what can I bring? What kind of aspect of God can I bring in this area that I can make a change, that I can I transform something around? That is a real change that life of faith should be giving us. Okay, I want to finish because I want